Hello Internet, it's Jason here from Godlike Productions once more. It has been a little while since I had anything new for the H9000, but I have some new goodies for you all today. What I have done is I've remade the swept combs algorithm from the H3000, which you can see in front of you, and I have also made a true stereo version that has a few extra features. So for those that aren't aware, the H3000 was one of the famous algorithms of the H3000 that a lot of people used on vocals and particularly acoustic guitar. And basically it's done with a bunch of comb filters that sweep up and down, and it makes things quite wide, so you can spread things left and right. Using the combs, so you have got some control over where those comb filters, where the outputs of them go. The way that it was originally designed was that there was six complete lines in this, and basically 6 delay lines, and each of them fed back, and you could set them by default to mono, and in which case all 6 of them would react, or there was an optional mode if you switched it to stereo, where the first 3 would be used on the left channel and the last 3 would be used on the right channel. So it did have stereo capabilities, but they were not particularly they were limited because of the power of the H3000. So we've got the H9000 now. It's got so much more horsepower. So I've done basically two versions. So the first one is a faithful replication of the H3000. This was combined. I took an algorithm that Italo Mix made for the H8000, and I looked at the original manual for the H3000, so I adapted his patch, but preserved what was in the H3000 as best I could. Now the other version we've got is the swept comb. So this is true stereo. So what we've got here is that we've got 6 true stereo delay lines. So the left and the right are preserved in all cases. We also have the ability to sync to MIDI, which the original didn't have, and I've had to add in a few extra just a few extra options. So one of the things that's probably worth explaining here is these D1, D2 pin amounts. So the original algorithm, I think, had a maximum delay time of 600 milliseconds. Might not even have been that much. I've expanded this to 2000 milliseconds on each of the stereo delay lines. But what happens is if you push this too far, eventually it will you'll get to the 6000. So if we have a look at this, for example, 1200 milliseconds is what we can get to. And what happens is that this will come up as pinned if you hit this 1200 milliseconds. And that just means that it's not going to sync as it once did. So we can take this back to 0. I'm at 90 beats per minute at the moment. So I think half note should be okay. No, half note, we're going to pin it there. So quarter note will be the maximum delay time you can have synced. You can of course turn the MIDI sync off, and in which case you've just got the raw values, the same as you do with the with the H9000 replica. So yeah, the use of this algorithm is if you want to make, basically it widens sounds in a very beautiful way. And yeah, one of the good things about having this true stereo version now is that it's really easy to sync it to MIDI. So yeah, you can do MIDI syncopation, as you'll see a few here. So I'm going to run through. I've got some basically acoustic guitars and I've got a synth vocal, and then I've got an audio recording of my friend Monique Simone. And we're just going to run that through a few of them and just have a little bit of a listen and see what it does to things. So first of all, let me bypass this and I'll just run through each of the sounds so that you can hear. I'm going to turn my mic off while we do this. Once I've run through the sounds, I'll unbypass it and then we'll just run through just a few of these different presets that we've got here. So I've done a whole bunch of different BPMs just as an example, which I'll include in the pack. So let's have a listen.
Regrets, I've got so many of them. got so many of them. They sail around my mind and ache within my heart. Regrets, regrets, regrets. God knows we've got them. So many it's a problem. Regrets, my sweet regrets. So many people die, so many people cry with their deep regrets. Will you call me, or will I call you? Will we ever call each other again? I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours. Or I'll go first with my regrets. Regrets, regrets, regrets. I've got so many of them. They say surround my mind and ache in my heart. Regrets, regrets, regrets. God knows we've got them. So many it's a problem. Regrets, my sweet regrets. Regrets, regrets, regrets. I've got many of them. They say around my mind and ache in my heart. Regrets.
So there's a little bit of a demo there of the impact that this effect can have on your, I guess, guitar and vocal lines. Anything that you could use an old H9000 for, you can use this for. I don't have a H9000, and I certainly wasn't working in the industry back in the day. I'll just run through a few of the extra controls that we've had here. So we've got a stereo expand here, and what this does is it offsets the left and the right delays when you're running in. So when you're running in MIDI sync or whatever, so it just creates a little bit more stereo depth, and just balances the left and the right. When you're running in sync, you must have tempo mode on, but you also must switch this MIDI sync on. The way that the VC is configured, there's no way for me to link this to the tempo mode. Hopefully that will be a change that Eventide will do sometime in the future, but yeah, you need to make sure tempo mode's on so that the tempo information comes into this patch, and then you have to turn MIDI sync on so that it actually grabs that information that's available to do all the calculations for the rest of this. I'll just run through the rest of the menus. They're the same on both plugins essentially. So we've got a feedback menu. So each of these feedback taps can. There's a diagram in the manual that shows how this is all wired up, but basically for each of the delay lines there's an individual feedback loop for those. The rate, so the delays move left or they move up and down, and this determines the rate of how much they vary, and it's affected by this the depth and the speed control up here. The depths is again, you can adjust them individually, and the depth here adjusts whatever you've got in here, it then multiplies it by this amount. So the speed does the rates menu, and the depth does the depth menu. The levels are for the for all of the levels, and let me just turn this off for a second. So you've got the depths menu, which is how much they change. You got the levels menu, which is basically the output mixer, so how much of each of those 6 delay lines you bring in. Then we have the pan menu, so each of the 6 delay lines. The way this works is this adjusts the center point of the output panning, and then if you adjust the width, that is how wide that the stereo field is. So you've got the center point, and then this is the extremities of the left and right. So you can, if you put all of these to 0, these will just pan each of your stereo signals will get panned mono if your widths are 0. If you open up your widths to 100% and put your pan at 0, then your left channel will go to your left, your right channel will go fully right, and you can of course reverse these, so you can have them at minus 100, so you can reverse the left and right channels if you like. I think that's it. The other thing that I need to explain is in these delay menus. So the way I've set these up is you've got a range of different delay times that you can choose, and because they're all in like 1/2, 1/4, 1/8, and then you have this offset time as well. So the way that it works is that the offset time gets added to whatever your delay time is. And so for example, if you wanted a 3/8 delay, you could set this to a quarter note, and then you add 1/8 to it, and that will make 3/8. And you've then got your normal double and triplet. That only applies to this delay time here. So it's a 1/4 note of normal time plus a dotted eighth note gets added onto that. So that works the same way for all of the 6 delays. And of course you can overwrite, you can just drag these up if you want to you can keep it in MIDI and then just drag these up and manually set one of these delay times, or if you just turn sync off, you just set them up there. All right, so I hope that gives you a bit of an overview of these two new plugins. Well, new old plugins. The H9000 replica will be free to the public, and the swept combs is going to be free to my subscribers, or you can either become a subscriber to get it for free, or you just I'll have a link that you can just buy just that algorithm if you are interested in that. I am working on some other algorithms at the moment. Some of them are quite complicated, which is why it's taking a bit of time to get through all of this. But yeah, there are some goodies planned for the near future. So stay tuned, and I'll get those out as soon as I can. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in, and have some updates again for you soon. See you later, all.